Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the WorshipCast. I'm Franklin.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Hannah.
Today we are going to get a real vocalist on the stage. All right, everybody, thank you for coming back and watching this week's episode. Again, we have...
Hannah.
Yeah, I'm very glad to have her. It's easy to get her to come on these things.
I mean...
Since she knows me so well. So for those that didn't see the other episode she was in, this is my wife. She is on the worship team with Franklin and I and some of the other characters that you've met over the episodes. But she also is the newest member of the band that we've had. It's only been with us for about 3 years, so she's kind of...
It's coming up on 4 years.
Still, like, only outside.
Hey, 4 years is a long time. In the world of worship.
I don't know what to say to that.
Don't even know what to say.
You're right. You know what? No, I was going to make fun of that Carrie Job album, but let's not. So,
It has been about 4 years since that album.
yeah. She never did recover. So, we're going to talk about some vocal do's and don'ts. Franklin and I both sing. We sing harmony and lead and all that kind of stuff. But Franklin and I have been trained on piano and guitar, respectively.
Yes.
But Hannah will always be a vocal major, and that's her main thing. So,
It's literally blood, sweat, and tears.
yeah. So Hannah, take it away. Let's give us some do's and don'ts and just some overview of some worship vocal things to know.
Yeah, definitely a do would be, definitely just start with the basics. You don't have to have a music degree per se to want to know more, about your instrument. But with like any instrument, you don't walk up to a keyboard and start playing. You don't get a guitar and just start strumming. You got to start from somewhere. And a big part of that is knowing the functions, and there's wonderful literature out there. The internet is glorious for that reason.
YouTube.
Yeah,
YouTube.
We love you, YouTube.
I mean, libraries these days, do they even have those?
Yeah, they do weird stuff in them, though. We won't get on the topic. Continue.
I remember when I was doing my big paper on singing for my senior project. I had to source it from the library, and you would be amazed how much literature there is on singing just in your public libraries. Wow. But I say start at the basics, not so that you are the best of the best, because you're always going to be learning, you're always going to be growing, and especially in a worship setting, it's not about necessarily being the best, but this is a muscle. And like with any muscle, it's important to know how it's worked. And if you overuse it or misuse it, you can blow out the only instrument you have.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a dangerous road too, because if you take a guitar away from me, I still have my hands. If you take a vocalist's voice away from them, sometimes you don't get that back. And I like that you're calling it an instrument, because it needs to be considered that way. Your voice, and that is, it is an instrument, and you have to practice it like you do everything else.
Yep.
It's kind of like guitar. You can learn to run before you can walk. You learn some shapes and all kind of stuff. Next thing you know, you can play a bunch of songs, but you don't know what you're doing. Yep. And vocals is the same way. A lot of times, if your ear is just naturally tuned a particular way, you can sing and make it sound good to a certain degree, and that's well and good. But there is a whole science and world behind vocals that you don't get up front, that needs to be explored at least a little bit to get the most out of it and to be able to continue doing it.
Yeah, and also a big part of it is just knowing your voice. I feel like I worship most naturally, when I'm just can release, and a big part of that, also is getting over that stage fright. because our voice, it's not an instrument that I can pick up or, play. It's here. And so I feel like for singers, there's a lot of that vulnerability that we're sharing, a huge part of ourselves every time we go out to sing. And just getting over that fright and that confidence of it all. So definitely knowing your voice, knowing, how high you can go, how low you can go, where your voice best sits in your register. That's all important of, just being able to freely worship.
And know your voice too. So, I mean, it will speak back to you if it starts to hurt.
Yeah, if pain, is one of the worst symptoms. If you're feeling pain, I was told by a voice teacher, and this is true because it isn't a muscle. You're exercising that muscle just like, if you're exercising, doing pull-ups, you're exercising your arms, you're going to be a little sore. So there is that good soreness sometimes is what vocal coaches, especially in the popular more terms of singing, would say. But if it's constant over time, if you're getting hoarse, if you're losing your voice, you need to talk to someone, and don't be afraid to to reach out, maybe to a local teacher or someone that has a little bit more experience and knowledge. Because
yes,
I mean you need to know, because you don't want to lose it.
Yeah, I mean, I took a couple of vocal lessons at North Greenville, and I'm sorry, Dr. Browder, or I don't remember. I think it was Browder. Yeah, but I don't warm up like I should. It's bad.
Franklin.
We always do. Let's be honest.
I don't either, and I should, because like I've said on another episode, the whole ride to church in the mornings, you're chirping like a bird, and I'm just sitting there. Yeah, that.
Sorry if I blew your ears out.
and I don't. But when I'm leading songs and stuff, I mean, I need to be careful too. Even though, first and foremost, I consider myself a guitarist.
Well, again, it's like I said, it's a muscle. You wouldn't go out and run a 5K without stretching.
You'll pull a hammy.
You don't.
You could try. It's wouldn't go very well.
Good luck. Go do it and leave us a comment about what happened.
Yeah, you don't want to consecutively, sing, over and over and over and over. They hit high note, and especially worship music. A big part of it is very, very lows, and then you all of a sudden go whoo, up in the stratosphere, and that kind of jerk in your voice. Top of my hand. That kind of jump in your voice. It's almost startling at times for it, and you gotta warm it up, even if it's just a little bit on the way to church. There's, like I said, there's a lot of resources out there. You can typically spot the good ones and then the not so credible ones, because there are some not so credible sources online. So
what's the one where like you put a popsicle stick under your tongue and hold it while you, or something like that?
That is one, I guess.
Okay, so check that one out. Keep some popsicle sticks in your car on the way to church. Look at people in cars beside you while you do it. And I'll say this. I didn't think about bringing this up, but since we're here, and this is my favorite thing to do live, I feel like a lot of people, and I was this way for years, won't warm up their voice because sometimes it does sound silly and that kind of thing. And if you're walking around somewhere and you don't want people to hear you walking around, and there's a lot of people that won't warm up because it's an odd sound. It makes you sound a little crazy, but it does.
It does, yeah.
But you need to do it. It's very important.
Very important.
And if the people around you care about you, know what you're doing, they don't care what you sound like. So get over the stage fright of the vocal warm up too.
Yeah, professionals. I mean, I consider us professionals, but professionals do it like outside of worship.
Yeah,
the professionals do it. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, don't be afraid.
They also like chug olive oil right before they get on stage and some other stuff too.
I've heard some weird stuff.
Yeah. Lemon juice, honey.
Yeah. I used to, this off topic, but I used to carry a squirt bottle of honey when I used to do my 3-hour shows when I wasn't playing Christian music back in the day.
Look, I learned how to play Christian music, but I learned how to play rock first.
But I would carry a squirt bottle of honey, and in between sets, I just squirt some honey.
Hey,
What do you mean? Not like I'm thinking like a spray bottle.
No,
You
like
can't get honey through a spray bottle.
Like the bear honey.
Okay,
thing.
just carry a
not
bear.
what I'm talking
I'm thinking like gumming up a spray bottle.
I know, like, how do you get it out?
You need to water it down. Yeah, so I think so far in this episode, the number one thing we've learned is take care of your instrument.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you oil up and polish up your guitar, or you should. Your keyboard, what does keyboard maintenance look like?
There really isn't one, unless maybe you dust off the screen every once in a while.
If it's got spots where you forgot to wash your hands, wipe those off. You know, but yeah, take care of your voice, take care of your instrument, because you know, again, while Franklin and I can have guitars and keyboards taken away from us, it's different if your voice is taken away from you.
Yep.
Absolutely. And then another big thing, especially in praise and worship, is harmony. And
I spend a lot of time doing that.
That's not something that always comes naturally to singers, I feel. And I was kind of one of those ones where I kind of had it easy and I didn't. I started singing like more musical theater and more like classical pieces, so I learned how to read music first, and then kind of developed my ear from reading harmony, if that makes sense. But if you're not like in a place where you can devote the time to learning how to read music, you're training. Very important to train your ear. There's a lot of free and really cheap apps, especially on our phones, that you can get ear training that will play intervals for you.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, yeah, that's the big thing about harmony, too, is that harmony comes from here.
Yep.
You have to be able to hear it. And so, for those that are maybe watching and thinking, well, how do I get into harmony? Whatever the root note is, you want to sing either the third or fifth above or third or fifth below. And most of those apps will give that option and play the notes for you, so you don't have to go in and try and figure all that out if you're not a theory person. But it's all here.
You gotta hear it. Yeah, listen.
How'd you learn to sing harmony, Franklin?
Lots of listening.
Lots of listening.
I guess simply because I am classically trained on violin as well. So it's just kind of like through ear training, through theory classes, and you just kind of like, okay, you pick it up eventually. Like I was not a good singer, and I still don't consider myself like a great singer. I'm an amateur singer, I would say, but
I
just
like
gotta
it.
listen. I mean, you gotta just listen. It's really all about listening and like, okay, she's singing, and you just go there and you just,
And it's not just important for harmony, but ear training and knowing your intervals is good for helping with tone and pitch too. That's a big area. So even if you don't consider yourself like a harmony singer, definitely important to learn your I can't talk. Intervals.
Intervallic singing.
Sing your scales.
Well, and we'll go back and say this too. A lot of your warm-ups are actually going to be your cadences, your 1 3 5 3 1 da 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 da. So I mean, you're going to be doing those as part of your warm-up sometimes too. I know when I was learning to sing harmony, I'll put this out there. I am one of those pickup. My ear was good enough to be able to sing, but just because I can sing a correct note does not make me a singer. But just one of those, pick up and can make it happen. When I was learning to sing harmony, it was all ear, and I had to find something to sing along with until I got it. And so the thing that I found to do this with was I was a big fan of The Fray. Everybody knows The Fray, that band. And so their first and second albums are full of songs where the melodies are simple. They're in a good kind of general key that he sings in. What's his name? Isaac Slade, I think his name is. He's very easy to sing with. And so these simple, catchy melodies, it's a very easy band to get in and learn where that third is and sing harmony with him, because there's not necessarily a lot of other harmony in the songs with him. So you can get in and hear what you're doing. That helped me.
Yeah.
Worship music is a good place to go to,
Worship
because,
music
again,
is a great place,
catchy, easy melodies.
I just sing along. Okay, boom. You practice. It's real good to practice just over and over,
And another big do, kind of go along with that, you got the pitch and tone and everything down. Your training, learn to enunciate or, pronounce your words. Especially in worship music, lyrics are key. And a lot of times lyrics are Bible verses. We're literally singing God's holy word. And even though it's popular these days to sing like mush mouth, as we call them, where you're kind of trying to sing like Adele and it's kind of gargled and it's kind of in the back of the throat and you can't.
Sam Smith comes to mind.
Yes.
Mumble, mumble, mumble.
So even though that may sound, good and pleasing to the ear at times, and it's what we're used to, especially in pop music, it doesn't translate well on the praise and worship side. Because again, if you're not enunciating words, and it's one thing for, the congregation, we know they have them on the screen, but at the same time, you're supposed to be leading them. When you're singing that song, you're leading them, into, praise towards God.
Yeah, never forget that. The congregation's singing with you. So, make sure they can understand what you're saying. But you don't. The other thing too is stylistically, you don't want to overdo it and end up in more of an operatic kind of.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily. Well, yeah, that's important. Know the style of the song you're singing. If it is praise and worship Hillsong, it might not necessarily be, unless that's how you feel more naturally as far as worshiping, by all means. But as far as with our band, because I am classically trained, it wouldn't suit me to sing classically or suit the band and the style, if that makes sense at the time. But as far as overcomplicating, there's a lot of times where like trills or extra little oohs and ahs can be added here and there, but it's all about feeling your congregation and being spirit-led. And if it's not spirit-led and you don't feel it in the moment, don't do it. Sometimes it's just better just to sing and not overcomplicate, not try to add anything.
So as a singer, let's get on this topic. So I know that there are some times, and this is not everybody, it's probably not the majority, but I have seen and heard this situation where singers don't want to show up to practice. They'll come in and just sing the songs and leave, that kind of thing. So how do you think a singer should be in a band at church, or on, let's not say a band, let's say a worship team, because it's a totally different.
Well, I always feel, in any band setting, I think the singer, should always be there and on time, and,
which
not just be there, but also be fake. That's true. Be there and most importantly, be focused. But especially like in a worship setting, where you're leading your congregation into a time of worship, you don't need to be, just showing up late and, leaving, just because, you're done and the band's still, unless your worship leader tells you to leave, that's one thing. But I always feel like it's best to be there, be attentive, know what's going on, and support your team no matter what. Because at the end of the day, we're all a team, and we're supposed to be, like the Bible says, we're supposed to be as one.
Yeah, and we've talked about that in other episodes too, where when you're part of a worship team and you're in a rehearsal, if you're singing and you're not playing an instrument, because the band's working on other stuff doesn't mean that that's not important for you to listen to. The instruments aren't backing you up. You're worshiping together as a team. And so it's important for you to be there and be be present. And if you feel in some of those situations like you're more important, or that everybody else's part doesn't matter because you're not singing, or that since you're not singing you're not interested, you may have an ego issue. And if that steps on your toes watching this episode, then good. Maybe you need to realize that there are some things going on, and that if you've got that in here, that you're not able to worship properly because there's still a lot of you in there.
Yeah. And I'll go off of that. I'll be the first to say singers are probably right above, guitarists are probably right above.
Guitarists are the most egotistical.
No, they're right below. They're right below.
And I'm proud to say that we are the most egotistical.
No, but for real. Singers, they tend to be, like the divas. And I remember when I was singing classical music, like I was told to be a diva. And that always, I did not like that. That never set well with me. And especially like in a worship setting, you cannot be all about you. You cannot be a diva, and it just seems to be it's the singers who, they want to be heard and loud and proud. And it's not about that. It's not about you. It's about him.
Yeah. It's not about your fame and glory. It's about his. If you're looking for self-serving kind of singing, go sing somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, and we'll tell you, we'll be the first to tell you, besides worship, we also sing in a duo group, and we don't always sing Christian music. We sing a lot of other secular styles. And, it gets to a point where even then, like, I almost feel bad, if that makes sense. We've had this conversations before, because it can be so self-serving. And
it's odd to get to a point in your worship life where when you go and you do other styles of music, you still enjoy it. It's still fun. It's great. But you almost approach it from a worship standpoint, where when people will come up and say, "Hey, I really enjoyed that," even at that point, you almost want to be like, "Cool, Jesus gave me the gift," and you're still kind of in that mindset. And it's so strange to be doing something where you're supposed to be showing people how good you are. Let's be honest, that's what you do when you play music. Other than, you want to be the best. But you really get in that church and worship mindset, and it changes every other aspect of your life and your playing. A lot of times for the better. Not a lot of times, all the ways for the better. What am I saying?
Always for
my
the
gosh. I'm sorry.
Always. No.
But yeah, that leads me to my last and biggest do, and that that's to pray, to read your Bible, and then always seek him first. And even before you step on that stage, every musician, but especially singers, because again, we have that ego problem naturally, we need to pray that that we are hid behind his cross. He's up front. He gets the fame. He gets the glory. It's him that's being heard, and that he fills us with his spirit. Because if not, it can come off as a facade. It really easily can.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. I think maybe you should sing a little something, and Frank and I should harmonize with you real quick.
We didn't plan that.
Come on. We all do this every week.
What do we say?
I don't know what you want to do.
I don't know. Look at me.
Light into It's Your Breath in Our Lungs. I'm bad with song names, you guys know.
We can try.
So you get that ready. I'll give us the exit. This is how we get out of the episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you've enjoyed it. We hope that something that was said, if you're a singer and you're looking at getting more into this, that it sits with you, it resonates with you, and it makes you want to be a better worshiper, not a better singer, a better worshiper. Thank you again from us at the WorshipCast. Please like, comment, subscribe, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Our Twitter's out there somewhere. Check it out, dude. Do people still use Twitter? And we'll catch you guys next time.
All right, here goes.
On the spot.
It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you, oh